coercion, right? Usse pehle we studied about how we can actually provide a default variable inside a function, and basically how that helps us write a safer code, right? Why does it help us write safer code? Because we are able to specify the particular values. So let's say I say num2 is equal to 1 here. In this case, what will happen is num2 has a default value 1. Now, if you pass 5, then of course it will take 5. But if you don't pass anything, which can also happen at times, then it will basically take 1 as a default value. Okay. So this was about, in very short, about, what do you say, about default parameters. Second thing we discussed is about type coercion, right? In typed coercion, we talked about 3 types of coercions, right? Coercion means the conversion of one data type implicitly, right? Implicit ka matlab hota hai where you don't have to tell, right? JavaScript. Okay, so we looked at a couple of examples, how it worked, right? So the first one of the examples is when you say 2 plus 1, the answer is 2. So what JavaScript is doing is it is taking this value, which is a Boolean, and it's upgrading it to a number, right? Similarly, when you have and a string like this, right? It upgrades the value of 2 from a number to a string. And of course, you know, when there is a plus between 2 strings, the 2 strings are they are concatenated, right? Okay. Similarly, we saw one other example and this happens when you're using minus, divide, multiply, modulus type of operators, right? In this case, what JavaScript will do is, I said 2 minus 3. Now this 3 was a string, but JavaScript is giving the answer -1, right? Why is that happening? Because JavaScript saw, hey, there is a minus sign here, and I have to, there is one string and one number. So it tries to change the string. Okay. But of course, it works with strings which are numeric in nature. If you write hello, JavaScript can't do anything and will say the answer is not a number, or NaN, right? Looking at the chat, true plus hello. So like I said, right, Boolean types will be converted into the higher data types, which is string, and then it will just join the 2 strings. It's a true plus a string hello would be true hello. Are we clear, everyone, with the type coercion? Clear as a bloke, guys? Only so few people? Or is everyone clear? True plus true is 2. Because there's a plus sign. Now JavaScript will look at 2 booleans. It will make it into numbers and add them. True plus true is 2. True plus false similarly will be 1. True is 1, false is 0. Cool, hai, guys? Shall I move forward? Okay, we'll move forward. Okay. Now, today we'll be talking about a couple of things. So one is we'll talk about objects, the basics of objects at least, right? Then we will see some other cool things that we can actually do with a function. And yes, that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with objects for now, right? But before I start with objects, does anyone know anything about objects? What objects are? Have you ever heard of the term objects? Not much? Okay. Anyway, so we're going to start with objects. Objects, right? So guys, what are objects? So in real life, anything that you look at, right? So I'm looking at, let's say this mobile phone, right? Or I'm looking at this pen, right? What are these? These are objects, right? So what does an object mean? right? So I'll take a more concrete example. It's a very typical example. Object is basically a entity, as some of you said. So let's say we have a car object, right? I'm going to call it car object. Right? Let's say you have to model a car in your code, right? In JavaScript or anywhere, right? So the car has two things, right? It can have uh, some properties, right? So a car can have what properties? Let's think about it. A car can have properties. The car can be, it can have a color, right? It can have, let's say, a model, right? It can also have a weight, weight. It can have a top speed, let's say, right? It can have CC, कुछ नहीं होता, engine size बोलो ना, engine size, right? And it can have many more things, right? So properties of the car are these, right? But the car, apart from just properties, the car has certain behaviors also, right? Right. So if you're modeling a car, the car can have properties and behavior. So these are, let's say, the properties of the car, and then there will be some behaviors of the car, right? So you can talk about the car can, let's say, start, right? So ignition on, ignition off, right? The car can brake to stop, right? Right. So basically, these are actions: starting a car, braking a car, and what else? What else can it have? And the start. I mean, start is for starting, and then you can drive. Okay, let's say drive, right? So you can drive a car. So these are the behaviors that a car can have. Of course, there are many other things which it can have, and then there are certain properties that it can have, right? So what we can say, guys, is everything, every object, right, has two things. This is something which we can say concretely. Okay, so they have certain properties, right, which are essentially things which define that the uniqueness of the car. Okay, so basically, a car, let's say a C-class Mercedes is going to be different from a BMW 3 Series, right? Why is that? Because their models are different, right? Then they can have different colors also, different top speeds also, different engine sizes also, and many other properties, right? अजय यार, जावास्क्रिप्ट पढ़ने आए हो या मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग? सुन लो ना. I'm stopping the chat. So the point is, objects can have properties and they can have behaviors, right? And using these two things, you can model any object, right? So I can model a watch using them, correct? So let's say if I've been given sufficient number of properties, I can define everything about this watch, right? I can talk about the diameter of the dial. I can talk about the size of the hands which are inside this clock. I can talk about the battery capacity. I can talk about the strap, what material it's made, and basically maybe in 100, 200, 300, whatever, X number of properties, I can define the whole watch, right? Then speaking of behaviors, so this has a stopwatch function, this has a light function, this has many other functions, right? So it has behaviors and it has properties, right? And similarly, you can just pick anything around you, right? And you can model it, right? So the intention of objects, right, is to be able to model data, right? Right? So these are real life objects, right? Real life objects, right? However, in JavaScript, it's slightly simpler than that, okay? So we already know about variables, guys, right? So let's say if I have to talk about a car, right? So the first thing that I can probably do is I can say const my car is equal to whatever, I'll say C class. Okay. So this is my car. Then I can talk about my car's color, and I can give it some other value, right? I can say blue or whatever, right? Similarly, I keep writing these things, and after having written 500 variables, I will be able to define my car, right? But the problem with such an approach is that the data is not together, right? I mean, you'll basically what are these? We know that variables are some things जिसके अंदर हम कुछ store कर सकते हैं. These things are just strings, right? The problem is with string data type, you can store limited amount of data, right? और हमें क्या data type आता है? We know about arrays, right? Now array के अंदर the problem is if you define all of these properties in one whole array, आपको ये नहीं पता लगेगा that which element of the array, which index of the array, what property is it talking about? So is the third element the color of the car, or is it the fourth element, right? So basically, to solve for these problems, right, JavaScript introduced the concept of objects, right? It's a very fundamental concept, right? In that, what you can do is you can define a car object, right? A my car object. So how do you define an object? You use these curly brackets, curly braces, whatever you call it, right? And in here, you can talk about its properties. So I can say color, colon, that's how. So the objects are what? They are key value pairs, right? So the key is color. I say blue, comma, model, right? The model is C class, let's say, right? And let's say the weight is, I don't know, it should be 2000 kgs. Okay. So in here, guys, what we know is my car object has these properties, right? So now if I have to, this is my car, and let's say there could be RV's car, right? So I will say RV's car, okay, RV's car, right? And RV's car probably has the color white. Maybe it's a E-class and it has weight, right? So basically, using objects, we were able to define different types of car objects, right? And similarly, we can define any object. So this is what a JavaScript object looks like, right? It is basically a collection of key value pairs, right? But of course, it's no good if you're not able to access it. So let's say I want to talk about the color of my car, okay? I'll just go here. I'll just paste it. So someone asks me, hey, what is the color of your car? I can say console.log for logging it, of course. And I can say my car dot color. Press enter and says blue, right? So what I'm basically trying to tell you is for accessing the values of your object, you say the name of the object, which is my color, my car, and you say that particular property. So if I want to say model, I say my car.model and I get C class. Chat will now be open. Make sense, everyone? Object, key value pairs, making the object, accessing the object. Sabko clear hai? Right? Weight is of string type, but weight could have been made of number type also. Very good, a good observation, Vidyasagar. So what Vidyasagar is saying, why should we make the weight as a string, right? We should make the weight as a number. It's better to do that, right? So if my car dot weight is now a number and not a string. No. Again, guys, let or const mein mat confuse karo. Let or const just is a type of declaring a variable, right? आप कुछ भी use कर सकते हो. By object is also a type of variable only, right? Now the question that, hey, can we change the value of this object when we are declaring it with const, right? Yes, we can. Okay. So why we can? Because जब आप const my car बोलते हो guys, तो my car is a container inside which वो object है, right? आप क्या नहीं बदल सकते, you can't change the reference to this container, right? Example समझना. So if I say const abc is equal to xyz, ठीक है? So in a variable name abc I'm storing xyz. Now if I try to say abc is equal to let's say def, so it will throw an error कि आप constant variable बदल रहे हो, right? But in case of my car, right, when I say dot weight, right, this variable is not constant in nature. My car basically is a constant, right? So but my car dot weight is not a constant, so I can say my car dot weight is equal to 2200, right? What that will do is that will actually modify my car. अब मेरी इस कार के अंदर weight is 2200 and not 2000. So even though it is a constant, it means आप my car को नहीं change कर सकते हो. So I can't say my car is equal to let's say something else, color red. You can't do this, okay? क्योंकि तब आप my car का reference change कर रहे हो. You can't change the reference of a constant variable, but आप object के अंदर की keys values को change कर सकते हो. Clear है सबको? Yes or no? Guys, I will need more yeses or no's, whichever. More responses, basically. My car is a container. We cannot change that, but we can change the entities inside, like model. Yes, Rabia. You can't change that container, the reference to that container, क्योंकि आपने उसको const से declare किया. Const का मतलब ये होता है कि आप उस variable reference को नहीं change कर सकते. आप किसको change कर सकते हो? उसके अंदर की चीजों को आप change कर सकते हो. क्या limitation है आरवी? बताओ. What is the limitation that you feel? Why is it showing error? Didn't get that. So it was declared by const ना शुभम. अगर आपने const के साथ किसी चीज को declare किया, let's say const t is equal to some string, right? अगर आप इस t को change करने की कोशिश करोगे, तो JavaScript is going to give you an error, right? नहीं तो const का मतलब क्या था, right? डुप्लीकेशन मतलब क्यों पूछ रहे हो ये सब शेख? अभी कहाँ से आ रही है डुप्लीकेशन की बात है? यू मीन डुप्लीकेशन इनसाइड द ऑब्जेक्ट, ये बोल रहे हो आप? So see, okay, that is a good question. Why not write let? Why not write let instead of const? Because it's an object, right? ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि my car को कोई दूसरा object लगा दे. So my car should never be replaceable by let's say RV's car, right? But अगर हमने यहाँ पे let कर दिया, I'll just take the simple example, okay? So RV की कार ये थी और ये मेरी कार थी, ठीक है? If I had done let in both places, what can happen is someone can come by mistake say my car is equal to RV's car. Now the existence of my car is gone, right? Because now my car has become RV's car, right? So basically it's because of some mistake, some accident, you have removed one object completely. But अगर आपने const किया होता तो JavaScript आपको गलती करने नहीं देता. Make sense, Pratik? प्रतीक, आपका क्वेश्चन था, आप भी तो यस बोलो या नो बोलो. ओके. Same thing with var, same problem with var. So always const. See, you should use as a general practice, you should use let only when it is absolutely necessary. राबिया const ऐसा तो नहीं है ना? मैंने आपको भी let से भी तो करके दिखाया. Why are you asking this question? क्या मैंने आपको let से ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करके नहीं दिखाया? So it's not necessary, right? Necessary means mandatory है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, आपके ऊपर है. But as a good practice, you should always make it constant. Yes, you can edit a property and you can add also a property. So we'll just talk about that in a second. Okay. So can we use return keyword with this, sir? Return का sense क्या बनेगा किरण? Return करता क्या था? Return is used to return a value outside a function scope. Object से return का क्या लेना देना? क्या पूछ रहे हो? So आपके पास my car है guys, मान लो my car में आपको कुछ और property भी डालनी थी, right? Let's say you wanted to say the top speed. So now that the object is created, आप दोबारा assign तो कर नहीं सकते because it's a const variable. So what you can do is you can say my car dot top speed like this is equal to 100. I'll put it in string because mph. Yes. Right now, when you look at my car, आपको क्या दिखेगा? You will see this object, which has a top speed, which has a model, which has a color, and which has an object weight. Right. So you can of course make changes to the keys inside an object. You can make changes to their value and many things. I've already talked about modifying the property Siddiq. ध्यान दो class में. We changed the value of weight from 2000 to 2200. Please remember that. Are we clear, everyone? Yes or no? समझ में आ रहा है guys सबको? हाँ तो बोलो खुल के. Okay. The order is not important. So the keys in which this is coming, JavaScript does not worry about the order, and neither should you. At the end of the day, it's a key value pair system. कौन कहाँ पे है? You don't have to care about it. Yes, Shivam, you can add to the object, you can modify the object, and you can delete the object. So it's called CRUD, C-R-U-D. Create, read, update, and delete. CRUD. So you can perform all 4 CRUD operations on an object, right? Reference भी change कर सकते हो अगर कौन से let से करोगे तो that concept remains intact. Why we use is equal to instead of. It's only inside the object that you use these things. Colons, it's not outside the concept, outside the object. Right. So my car, and about deleting, let's say you wanted to delete this, you can simply say delete space the property. When you do that, now अगर आप my car में देखेंगे, there are just 2 properties: create, read, update, delete, CRUD, as I like to call it. CRUD is an operation, does not have to be for DB or anything else. It's a terminology. Yes, you're right. In DBs also we use this terminology, but object में भी कर लो, problem क्या है? चले आगे guys. Shall I move forward? Okay. So हमने देखा how we can create an object, right? How we can define an object, right? Again, object में भी ये जो spaces होते हैं, ये जो line breaks होते हैं, matter नहीं करते, right? So in my car, I could have written it like this, right? JavaScript को सिर्फ मतलब है key से, ये key है और उसका value से, right? It does not matter आप उसको लिख किस तरीके से. So I can do this, I can do this also, whatever you think you can think of. The object is still my car with these 3 properties. So my car is still my car. Got it? Okay. So now we know that in an object 2 चीजों से define होता है, key और value pairs से define होता है, राइट। की और वैल्यू पेयर को एक्सेस कैसे करते हैं गाइस, हमने वो भी सीख लिया। हमने ये सीखा अब तक दैट वी कैन एक्सेस इट लाइक दिस, सो वी कैन से माय कार dot color and we'll give you blue. There's also another way to do it. Instead of this dot you can use this notation, but of course अब color कोई variable तो है नहीं, color is a string, तो आपको उसको quotes में डालना पड़ेगा, right? So what you can say is you can say my car dot color or you can say my car of color. Clear? No. Array का कोई लेना देना ही नहीं है इस चीज से. Array is an object. Object is not an array. Array तो collection होता है इस चीज का. Can we create an object to an object? Of course you can, right? So object भी तो एक type of variable ही है ना, एक data type ही तो है. So my car है, right? इसके अंदर let's say एक आपने चीज बना दी engine, right? And instead of making this engine as a string, it's an object, right? Engine की क्या properties हो सकती है? Again, it can have size, right? It can have torque, right? 200 Newton meter. Force is R cross F. R is length, so Newton meter. Yeah, Newton meter is correct. So now my car. Simple है प्रियंका. आपको इंजन के अंदर कुछ एक्सेस करना है, आप बोलोगे my car dot engine. ठीक है. अब आपको इंजन के अंदर कुछ एक्सेस करना है, आप बोलोगे dot size. The concept is same. My car dot एक ही बात है. वो भी सिंपल है मोहित. My car dot engine dot engine की और क्या प्रॉपर्टी होती है? हॉर्स पावर equal to 200 kilowatt. kWh, it's power, kilowatt power, or you can use HP. Kilowatt hour, right? Power is the rate of delivery of energy. Yeah. Thank you, Mayank. Clear, guys? My car dot engine. And you have all these properties. Are we good or not? Everyone, बता दो एक बार. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? शेख भाई, तरुण भाई, मोहित को भी आ रहा है. बढ़िया बढ़िया. Good, good, good. Okay, let's move forward after this quick revision of mechanical engineering. Probably repeat. आदम भाई बताओ क्या रिपीट करें? आप जो बोलोगे रिपीट कर देंगे, बट बता दो क्या रिपीट करूं. कॉन्स्ट वाला पूरा तो लिखो ठीक से. कुछ भी नहीं बोला यार मैंने सिर्फ ये बोला अगर एक वेरिएबल क्रिएट करते हो कॉन्स्ट से, राइट, तो उसको चेंज नहीं कर सकते, उसकी रेफरेंस को नहीं चेंज कर सकते, राइट. So let's say there is a variable, let's call it my var is equal to कुछ भी वैल्यू 1 2 3 स्ट्रिंग. ठीक है. आप ये नहीं बोल सकते my var is equal to something, whatever, आप कुछ भी नहीं बोल सकते. Basically you can't reassign it, right? आप ऐसा करोगे JavaScript will throw you an error that you're trying to assign something to it, right? But मैंने क्या बोला कि when it's an object, let's say const my var was equal to it has property a1 b2 anything. ठीक है. अब यहाँ पे आप ये तो कर ही सकते हो my var dot a is equal to 3 and now my var becomes a3 b2. Why is that possible? Again दोबारा बोल देता हूँ. my var ऐसे समझो, my var एक डब्बा है, एक कंटेनर है जिसके अंदर एक ऑब्जेक्ट पड़ा है, राइट. आप इस कंटेनर को नहीं चेंज कर सकते, राइट? बट इस कंटेनर के अंदर जो है उसको तो आप टच कर ही सकते हो, राइट? सो यू कैन नॉट से नाउ दैट हे माई var is equal to, let's say, another object. कैसा object? ऐसा object A6 B C7 whatever, some example, right? If you try to do that, JavaScript gives you an error that आप const variable को कैसे assign कर सकते हो. Clear है आदम? आदम, is it clear or not? बोल के बताओ, आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा है. Okay, what else? Sir, is it possible to add object in engine? Mohit, think of an object just like any type of data type, any type of variable, right? अगर आप engine के अंदर horse power add कर पा रहे हो, तो आप object भी add कर सकते हो, right? Let's talk about it. So हमारी car क्या थी? My car. Okay, चला गया. Just trying to get it back. Yeah, right. So my car had all these properties, right? Let's say I want to say my car dot engine dot I don't know engine का क्या meta level property हो सकता है? Anyone? Engine के अंदर क्या object बनाए? Yes, cylinders. Cylinders बोले क्या होता है वो? Combustion chamber. And this can be an object, right? So it can have what can it have? It can have capacity. Right. What क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Compression ratio, right? Compression ratio. Combustion के अंदर कैसे power होगी मेरे भाई? Compression ratio. It's a whole number, 0.5, right? So, and of course, this guy can have other things also, right? So my car now is a very deeply nested object. इसके अंदर एक engine है. Engine के अंदर combustion chamber है जिसका compression ratio 0.5 है. Clear है guys? Can we change the key value, sir? Are we इस question का एक बार खुद से पूछोगे क्या बोल रहे हो आप? मैंने आपको बताया कि आप वैल्यू चेंज कर सकते हो एक की, राइट? अब आप बोल रहे हो मुझे की ही चेंज करनी है. दैट मेक्स नो सेंस ना यार. तो आप उस की को डिलीट करोगे एंड देन यू विल ऐड अ न्यू की. यू कांट चेंज द बेसिस ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट ना. सो देयर इज नो, अगर मुझे मतलब इसका मतलब ही नहीं है यार इस बात का कोई. अगर मुझे कलर ब्लू को विंडो रेड बनाना है, व्हाट डज दैट मीन? इट मींस आई वांट टू रिमूव कलर. So you say my car dot color, you say delete in front of it to delete that color. So now my car does not have color. और उसके बाद जो वैल्यू आपको ऐड करनी है कर दो यार. My car dot window size is equal to I don't know 100 centimeter square. आरवी भाई क्लियर है नहीं है? तो सोचो एक बार, जस्ट रन द क्वेश्चन इन योर हेड. इफ द वेरी बेसिस ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट इज की एंड वैल्यू, राइट? एक की होती है, उसकी एक वैल्यू होती है, राइट? आप बोल रहे हो कि क्या मैं की वैल्यू को चेंज कर सकता हूं? दैट डज नॉट मेक एनी सेंस. इफ यू वांट टू रिमूव, you remove the whole thing and you add a new one, or you change that thing. But can I change key value? That does not make sense na yaar. Then put it rightly, say the right thing, because when you say the wrong thing aap khud bhi confuse hoge internally. That's why I'm stretching this so much. Sir, what is prototype as is showing in your screen when you click on the arrow to expand the object on console? So there are something called as prototype properties of an object. वो क्या होते हैं? I can't explain right now. Of course, I will be explaining it to you, but let's say in the next week or the week after that. It's going to take a couple of More days. Repeat last one, sir. Sure. Sirjul, what do you want me to repeat? What was the last thing that I said? Batao. I don't remember. That's why I'm asking you. Waiting for you, Sirjul. Repeat last one is not making sense to me. बताओ क्या repeat करना है? मतलब, what was there? So someone asked that, hey, can I add an object inside an object? So that's what I did. I said my car, which is an object. I went inside engine, right? And I created a new value, which was combustion chamber, and I made it as an object, right? जिसके अंदर अभी compression ratio था sir. Now let's say I'm adding material. Big iron. So now if you look at my car, there is an engine. Inside there's an engine, there is a combustion chamber, which is made of the material pig iron. Sergio, बोलो भाई समझ में आया नहीं आया? Okay, good. Okay, so we know objects, we know how to make changes to objects, and basically we know a lot of other things about objects now. Okay, so we can create objects now. Okay, so this is about the basics of object, right? Now, one thing which you guys should ask, I'll tell it later when I teach you functional expressions. Don't worry. Okay, abhi ke liye just remember this one. We are good so far, everyone? Basics of object सबको समझ आ गया? Object क्या है, कैसे create कराना है? Okay. I know this is a lot of information, but just keep putting this in your head, and it will make sense to you very soon, all of it. Okay, so what else can we talk about? Give me a second. We had thought about this, right? And okay, now just so because we want to move to the next topics, I want to cover objects in greater depth. For that, we need some background. Okay. Now, what is that background? I'll just talk briefly about that background. Okay, guys. So, to talk about that, हमने कल क्या पढ़ा था? हमने पढ़े थे functions. हाँ भाई सौरभ, सही कह रहे हो. Okay. So just wanted to get deeper into the object वाली चीज, ठीक है? So how do I move deeper into this? Firstly, we need to learn something about functions, right? Right. So what I mean by that is we need to understand, guys. Function में अब तक हमें क्या पता है that we have a function, right? जिसके आगे function keyword लगाते हैं. उसके बाद हम फंक्शन का नेम लिखते हैं. सो अगेन आई विल जस्ट टेक अ वेरी सिंपल एग्जांपल, से हेलो, राइट? अगर आपको पैरामीटर देना है तो आप पैरामीटर दे सकते हो. इट्स जस्ट अ नेम ऑफ अ वेरिएबल. सो आई विल जस्ट से नेम, ओके? And then whatever you want to do inside the function, you can do, right? So inside here, I'm just going to say console.log hello space comma name. Okay? And you call say hello. It basically, if I call it without anything, it basically says undefined. If I call it with my name, it says hello corrections. Okay? So now this is what we know about functions abhi tak. इससे ज़्यादा हमें कुछ नहीं पता, right? What we need to understand now is that functions भी JavaScript में variables की तरह ही होते हैं, right? So what I'm trying to tell you guys is this function, right? This say hello function can be saved inside a variable also. समझना थोड़ा सा complex है. So let's say I want to I'm creating a variable, ठीक है? जिसका नाम है greet. Okay? इस ग्रीट को मैंने क्या वैल्यू दे दी गाइस? इस ग्रीट को मैंने वैल्यू दी से हेलो, राइट? Just look at this very carefully. There was a constant greet to which I have given a value of say hello. Now, what is this say hello? This say hello is of type function. It's a function, right? Everyone, do you understand this line? Const greet is a function ka name, right? So I press enter, right? So just by doing this, what I have done is now greet is basically, again, variable wala concepts, guys. Variable क्या होता है? Variable is a container जिसके अंदर आप कुछ डाल सकते हो, right? So in this variable, what I have put the reference or the name of a function, right? Right? Now that I know कि इसके अंदर क्या है, I can just use it as a function, right? So I can just say greet, right, which is a function. या हमें JavaScript का compiler बता भी रहे हैं यहाँ पे f लिख के, and let's say I say greet and I now call it with the value of Sirajul. I hope I got the spelling right. Now when I press enter, it says hello Sirajul, right? So the thing to understand here is functions in JavaScript can be treated as normal variables, right? या फिर इसको इंग्लिश में बोलते हैं functions in JavaScript are first class, right? Which basically means Java जब आप सीखेंगे या फिर आप C++ सीखेंगे, so that time you can't do this. Okay, you can't just save the reference to a function inside a different variable name. ठीक है? It's only language like JavaScript which treats functions as normal variables, and this is a huge power. I can't talk about this enough. अभी जब आगे I'll teach you functional programming, उसमें सीखेंगे how we can use this, how this makes things very easy. अरे अंजलि मैडम, const is used to define variables, right? So आप greet लिख दो, आप अंजलि लिख दो, how does it matter यार? These questions should not come up now. The same thing, right? At the end of the day, it's just a reference, okay? Are we clear, everyone? मैंने क्या बताया अभी? Right? Okay. Now, when you are assigning something to a variable, when you're assigning a function to a variable, it becomes a functional expression. ठीक है? चीज है, बस इसको बोलते हैं. Instead of being a function, it becomes a functional expression, right? So guys, now I come to my second point. Which is, I'll just copy this and code में लिख लेता हूँ ताकि आप लोग के काम आ जाए बाद में. I'll just paste it here. I'll say functions as first class in JavaScript. Okay, I'm sure you'll make sense out of this. Just remove this, and this. And this can also be removed. That's it. Give me a second, guys. Guys, समझ में आ गया सबको? Functions have first class support. What I meant to say here. Okay. Cool. Now, one way of defining functions is like this. आपने समझा, right? आप function लिखते हैं, आप function का नाम लिखते हैं, आप parameter pass करते हैं, and you just do it like this, right? This is another way to sort of create a function also, right? एंड बाय द वे, जब मैंने ये किया तो बेसिकली दिस इज कॉल्ड अ फंक्शनल एक्सप्रेशन, राइट? इट बिकम्स अ, इट्स नॉट अ फंक्शन, इट्स अ फंक्शनल एक्सप्रेशन, राइट? एक और तरीका फंक्शनल एक्सप्रेशन को इज से हेलो तो फंक्शन नहीं है बाबा. दिस राइटिंग इट लाइक दिस, ग्रीट इज अ फंक्शनल एक्सप्रेशन. से हेलो तो फंक्शन है, इट्स ऑलरेडी डिक्लेयर्ड ऊपर में. ओके, एनीवे कमिंग टू द पॉइंट, जैसे आपने ये चीज किया, what you can also do is you can write something like this. ध्यान से समझना guys. You can say const say hello is equal to function and write it like this. Name, right? And of course इसके अंदर सब कुछ same रहेगा. I'll just copy paste this. Big difference here guys, please recognize this. यहाँ पे क्या लिखा गया है? यहाँ पे we have written function keyword जिसका नाम है say hello, right? So basically this was the name of a function and this guy is a functional expression, right? So basically these two things are equivalent हैं, दिखते नहीं हैं, right? So what you're saying here is const say hello is equal to function. Big difference is यहाँ पे इस function का कोई नाम नहीं है, right? Otherwise आपने function अब तक कैसे लिखना सीखा है? You say function, you say the name of the function. Here what you have is you have a variable, right? Const say hello, or say hello is a variable inside which you are holding a functional expression. चलने में दोनों बिल्कुल सेम है. Let's look at it. I will reload. I will paste this thing, right? I think say hello has already been declared, so I'll just call it say hello to. Sorry, say hello to. Say hello to me. ऐसा लिख देता हूँ, ठीक है? Now say hello to me can be called with any name, right? Let's say my name. Clear? So what we have learned is there are two ways to write a function. One is of course with this thing, the other is with functional expressions, right? This and this are equivalent, right? But functional expression इसको कहते हैं जब आप किसी वेरिएबल को एक फंक्शन का नाम दे देते हैं, फंक्शन का नाम दे देते हैं, it becomes a functional expression. Basically here you stored a reference of that function to some other variable, and now that variable will also act as a function. Very well put, Sweta. That's exactly what it is. Understood? So whenever you are assigning a function का नाम to a variable, एक तो वो तरीका है श्वेता, ठीक है? दूसरा तरीका है जब आपने इसको इस तरीके से लिख दिया. This is a shorter way of writing it, right? What do you want me to write, Siddiq? Please explain. I did not understand. It's not really a question of better versus worse. It's this thing with JavaScript has. It has consequences. That's a different thing. But better or worse का कुछ है नहीं. मतलब I'm not able to understand you, Siddiq. What आप क्या बोलना चाहते हो? I've already written this function as an expression here, right? Do you want me to write like this? Expression. Is this what you want? Are we good, guys? सबको समझ में आ रहा है? Yes or no? It's a tough concept, and I won't say it's an easy concept. I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible. I don't know if it's working for you or not. I think it should be working. सबको समझ में आ रहा है ना? Very good, Shivam. 100% तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. Right? So this is a very common interview question. मतलब not a common interview question. This is a good interview question. अच्छे लोग कुछ पूछ लेते हैं. what is the difference between a function and a functional expression, right? When you write it like this, it becomes a functional expression. Or when you give a variable a reference to the name of the function, then also it's a functional expression. Yaad kar lo, if you say the same thing, interview clear ho jayega. Cool. Everyone, एक बार yes बोल दो guys, समझ में आ गया तो? Repeat करना तो ये जरूर बता दो, what do you want me to repeat? Because I have only said this thing that you know already function इस तरीके से लिखते हैं. I told you, hey guys, there is also another way to write a function, which is this, right? The difference is in this one, this variable is holding this function का reference. ठीक है? ठीक है? Now this variable also acts like a function. ठीक है? तो आप say hello to me को उसी तरीके से कॉल कर सकते हैं जिस तरीके से आपने say hello को कॉल किया. You can say some name here and we'll just start working. Right? Say hello to me, say hello work in the exact same way. Right? Another way to do this is जो आपके पास already function लिखा हुआ था उसको इस तरीके से लिख दो and it becomes a functional expression. Are we clear, people? Yes or no? Sir, are we दोबारा लिखो? I lost it in chat. Are we type that out again? Sir, is there any property of these brackets in JS as we are using these in different ways? No, yaar, it's a syntax thing, right? It's a syntax thing. So whenever there is a block of code, मैंने आपको पहले बताया था, it is inside these braces, right? So where have we used these type of braces? One is to define a block of code like a function. The other is in a for loop. Let's say for में कुछ लिखा है and this is again the body of that for. हमने इसको दोबारा देखा था if के अंदर और या फिर else के अंदर या फिर else if के अंदर, right? It's a syntax thing. You'll just get used to it. No, the concept of pointer is required in languages which do not do memory management for you. In C, C++, Golang, Rust, these languages, memory needs to be managed by you, which is allocation of memory, deallocation of memory, and all those things. So you need to sort of maintain a reference to the variables that you're declaring. In languages like Java, JavaScript, and other languages, there is a concept of GC, which means garbage collector, which does the job of allocating and deallocating for you. So it's not required. JVM is not that. JVM is the Java virtual machine, which is the virtual environment inside which a Java bean runs. बाद में बताऊंगा मैं, because right now किसी को पता नहीं है call by value, call by reference क्या होता है. They both end up creating a functional expression, Amul. अगर आप function को इस तरीके से लिखते हैं and you assign it like this, then it's a functional expression. If you write it like this directly, जहाँ पे आपने function का कोई नाम नहीं लिखा है, it's a functional expression again. I understand, Amit. GC means garbage collection or garbage collector. Function का type. Okay, this is an interesting one. Type of function or type of say hello to me लिख देते हैं. चलो. Type of say hello is a function. Cool. So type of function is a function. Clear है? आगे चलें guys. If there is some doubt, please ask. The only thing we've talked about is functional expression. Functional expression का ही मतलब होता है एक वेरिएबल के अंदर, I'm repeating this many times, please ध्यान से सुन लो, एक वेरिएबल के अंदर एक फंक्शन का रेफरेंस डाल देना. Now what you want to do with this reference is entirely up to you. You call this, you pass it into yet another function or whatever, that's up to you. ठीक है? Okay. Now let's come to the second part, which I wanted to cover in objects, right? I'm doing this deliberately because when you'll be able to create these linkages, right? It will make the learning easy for you guys, right? So this is this functional expression wala concept. Now just remember this. And now what we are going to do is look at this. Okay? Up tak, you had a car, right? My car. Yes. So you had a car, which जिसमें से properties थी. There was some color, there was some model, there was some engine, right? Now, let's say हमें इस गाड़ी को चलाना है, right? Right? So drive is a behavior, right? When I say drive is a behavior, it means drive needs to do something, right? और JavaScript में guys हमने सीखा है when you have to do something, you have to write a function, right? So what I'm essentially doing here is drive is going to be a function inside the object, right? Right? But हमें पता है कि जब हम किसी चीज को assign करते हैं एक function, what does it become? Can you guys please respond to this? What does it become? Functional expression. Perfect. Right? So objects are no different here. जब आप t is equal to function करके कुछ लिखते हैं, right? Const t, इसके अंदर आप कुछ भी लिख सकते हैं, of course. I can say okay, and you call t, it behaves as a functional expression. जो object की keys होती हैं, they also are very similar in that way, right? तो हमने जो my var लिखा है drive में, मैं ये लिख ही सकता हूँ, right? Clear है guys? ऐसे console.log. Nothing complex, just this. Got it? So now my car, मैंने start क्या किया था? Object में क्या होती हैं? Behaviors होते हैं और properties होते हैं. So these color, model, engine are properties. Drive is a behavior. So my car dot drive is a functional reference क्योंकि it's a functional expression. You call it and the function runs. कॉमा क्यों लगाया है? बहुत सिंपल है किशोर, आप देख लो ऑब्जेक्ट के अंदर की वैल्यू पेयर्स होते हैं, राइट? सो दिस इज अ की, ये उसकी वैल्यू है, उन की वैल्यू पेयर्स के बीच में कॉमा ही होता है. हमने अपने कोड में भी देखो यहाँ पे ही लगाया था, there's a comma here, there's a comma here, there's a comma here, there's a comma here. If you guys are able to understand up till this point, you have already come a long way in JavaScript. नहीं लगा सकते तरुण, रूल है ना, की वैल्यू के पेयर है. सेमीकोलन कब लगाते हैं? सेमीकोलन आप तब लगाते हो जब आप एक फंक्शन, जब आप एक स्टेटमेंट को एंड कर रहे हो. यहाँ पे कोई स्टेटमेंट है नहीं, राइट? यहाँ पे क्या है? यहाँ पे की वैल्यू पेयर्स है, राइट? पेयर्स को तो कॉमा से ही लगा के डिफरेंशिएट करोगे, राइट? Are we clear? समझ में आ गया सबको गाइस? Concept is definitely complicated, but is it becoming easy? Do you find this easy or do you find it hard? Easy है या hard है guys? अरे see guys, what I'm trying to say is आपको समझ में आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है? Definitely, I can't practice code for you. Code तो आपको ही लिखना है यार. I can just explain things to you. If you don't practice it, सब भूल जाओगे. Remember करना ही नहीं है ना सिद्धिक. Code लिखना है. Write this same piece of code 10,000 times and then you will never forget. Practice is the problem. Now I've written objects, functions lakhs of times, right? Where we have to practice क्या है? Just open your code editor, write your own object, write functions inside that object. You do that several thousand times, you'll also become an expert. There's no secret, guys. मैंने पहले भी बोला था, there is no secret to becoming a master of something. It's only lot and lot of practice. Practice is the secret, as Azharuddin says. Agar rank is for practicing coding questions. So you can start coding in JavaScript. That's entirely up to you. Okay, anyway, the point that I wanted to make is functional expression, right? एक चीज और बोल देता हूँ, since we are talking about this thing. मैंने क्या बोला था guys यहाँ पे const is equal to function लिखा हुआ है already. Just quickly get to it. Yeah. In this, if you look at it, function का कोई नाम नहीं है, right? Function does not have a name of its own, right? Function का name कब होता है? Function का name होता है जब आप उसको इस तरीके से लिखते हो. Function, say hello. In this case, ये जो say hello function है, इस function का नाम say hello है, right? But in this case, इस function का कोई नाम नहीं है, guys. This function का reference you are storing in T, right? So just very important concept to know. In functional expressions, the variable acts as the name of the function. ठीक है? So T is the name of the function in some sense. है नहीं, because इस function का कोई नाम ही नहीं है, right? So functions which do not have a name, right, are called anonymous functions, right? Because when something does not have a name, we say it's anonymous, right? It does not have any name, right? Functions in function expressions are called anonymous. I hope I get the spelling right. Functions as they have no name. Clear? Clear, everyone? Any questions that you guys have? I can take up another concept now, but just want to pause here for some time to ask you if there is any question that you guys have. Basics of objects, basics of functional expressions is what we have just covered, right? फिर हमने सीखा object के अंदर function name, is it anonymous? यार syntax तो सही लिखो. This is called an anonymous function. क्यों? क्योंकि इसका कोई नाम नहीं है. Say hello to me is holding the reference to this function, right? Say hello to me इस function का reference hold कर रहा है. इस function का अपना कोई नाम नहीं है. So if you want to call this function, आप say hello to me का use कर सकते हो क्योंकि say hello to me उसका reference hold करता है. ठीक है? What do we do? Shall we move to the next concept, guys? We're good, right? Okay. Before we do that, there was this thing that Newton School people had asked me to provide to you. I think it's some sort of a form which needs to be filled. Give me a second. Can you guys please fill this form? It should be very quick. Yes, disable the chat. Very good suggestion, Shubham. Thank you. Can you guys please fill this form quickly? जितने आप fill कर रहे हो, I'll keep taking the questions. Vidyasagar, without name, how we know that's what value have to give? यार आपको ये तो मालूम है ना विद्यासागर, इसका रेफरेंस इसमें है, तो आपको तो फंक्शन को चलाने से मतलब है या फिर आपको फंक्शन का नाम जान के करना है? You even if you don't know the name of the function, you have the reference to it, right? So when you say hello to me Parikshit, it will print hello Parikshit, right? What's the problem? I'll enable the chat now to provide the form. I've provided the form. Vidyasagar, clear है ना? Good. This form is already there on Slack. I'm not sure, Amit, what this form is. I was just told to share this with you guys. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so if you already filled it, then there's nothing else to do. Okay, I'll just move to the next concept very quickly. Okay, and शेख भाई हिंदी तो बोल दूंगा, but अब कुछ लोगों को हिंदी नहीं आता, क्या करें? Some people don't know Hindi. Some people don't know less English. I will not say किसी English नहीं आता, but what to do? 50-50. Yes, Amit, very good point, yaar. Amit has made a brilliant point. See, आपके interviews तो English में ही होंगे ना, Zubair, Sheikh. In the interview, will you be able to say, "Hey guys, sir, हिंदी में पूछिए," बोल पाओगे? Sheikh and Zubair. समझना पड़ेगा ना? Guys, जब आप इंग्लिश में वो चीजें करोगे तभी तो इंग्लिश में समझ पाओगे, right? I understand, yaar. If some people can have a problem, it's a very real thing. बिल्कुल शेख भाई, बिल्कुल सही बात है. See, what I'm saying is, जो इंग्लिश हम लोग बोल रहे हैं guys यहाँ पे, it's not very complicated English, right? I'm not using some big words. I'm not using some jargon. The concept that we are understanding, see, this is what I feel, guys. Concept की कोई language नहीं होती. Concept does not have a language, right? I'm just conveying a few things, writing some things here, writing function here and there. Basic things, right? Because functional expression, right? Anonymous function. These are not the things जो मैं हिंदी में बोल सकता हूँ. So these are things which you will need to know. You need to know these terms, right? These technical terms, interview के लिए. Because what is a functional difference between a functional expression and anonymous function? There is no Hindi to say this, right? The only English here is difference, which I'm sure you are aware of. Cool. Please stop here. अरे तरुण भाई अभी तो पढ़ाने दो. Okay, let me do this. I'll teach one more concept and then we can pause. Okay, just one more concept. Cool. Okay, so this concept is an easy one. The concept is of arrow functions, right? Okay, pretty cool. I love these. Okay, but after that, once I've taught you that, I will stop using this function keyword because I prefer arrow functions more. Okay, okay. So arrow functions. Okay. Now, guys, the people who created JavaScript, very soon they understood that, hey, when we are doing a very simple thing, let's say when you're writing something like this, okay, say hello to me is I'll remove all of this function, say hello expression, right? So what people realized is this is a very long way just for saying hello, just for executing a one liner, right? या फिर थोड़ा better example लेते हैं यार. Product P1 P2 का, right? And it just does return, okay, P1 star P2. Everyone understands what this function is doing, guys? It's product, it's multiplying the two parameters that you pass to it, and it's returning their product. Okay, correct? Now, just for writing this, you're having to write a lot of boilerplate code, right? आपको function लिखना पड़ रहा है, आपको product लिखना पड़ रहा है, आपको ये brackets लिखने पड़ रहे हैं, और आपको return statement भी लिखना पड़ रहा है, right? So the people who created JavaScript, they came up with the concept of arrow functions, right? So what are arrow functions? This is what the syntax looks like. Okay, so I'm just going to write the same. Arrow functions भी functions ही होते हैं, but उसको लिखने का तरीका different होता है. So they are functions. They are also functions which are written in a different way. That's all. Okay, so how we write them? We can say const product is equal to p1 comma p2 p1 star p2. That's it. These two things, these three lines and this one line, they do exactly the same thing. Okay, so इसको आप ऐसे कॉल कर सकते हो simply product p1 p2. There's no meaning of this, Kishore. It's a syntax. ऐसे ही लिखते हैं. Okay, so let me just explain it to you. This part is basically the function, right? Right. Of course, these functions can also have a return keyword. So I can write them like this and say return यहाँ पे. Hey folks, looks like my network has dropped. Okay. Okay, I'm back and I'll repeat myself again. right? What I said is arrow functions, okay? This thing and this thing is another way of writing it. This is called an arrow function, right? In this arrow function, what happens is you can also avoid writing the return part. उसके लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? Whenever there is just one line inside the function, right? So in this there is only one line which is saying return this. तो आप उसको simply ऐसा लिख सकते हो. So this thing, and this thing, they are equivalent. They do the same thing. Are we clear? Are we clear? This is the concept of arrow functions. Why not write curly? It's just easy to write this, right? I mean, I find this very easy. आपको return keyword नहीं लिखना पड़ता. ये अपने आप return कर देता है when there is only one line. आपको curly brackets नहीं लिखने पड़ते हैं. 506 line have return. I mean, there's no return here. It just does it by itself. No, it will return undefined if you, let's say, do simple things happen. Say console.log print going to return. Okay. If you remove this return, then there's no sense, right? Now there are two lines, so you have to use the curly braces and you have to add return here, right? And if you don't write this, of course, it will return undefined. Anything which does not return anything returns undefined, right? Guys, same concept hai har cheez mein. Be it function, be it if statements, for loop, सब में same concept होता है. अगर आपने curly braces नहीं डाले, अगर if it's a one line after that, if there is one line after that, you do not have to write the curly braces, you can just put it there. आज टॉपिक समझ नहीं आया, क्या पढ़ा है क्या नहीं. सोनू भाई, कितनी बार पूछ रहा हूं मैं आपसे, आप अब क्यों बता रहे हो? Sonu, why are you saying this now? After every single thing that we covered, we have asked questions. समझ में आया, समझ में नहीं आया, तब क्या सो रहे थे आप? It's not that you do not, you use it only for single line. You can use it for functions which are of 50, 100 lines also. It's just that when there is one line, the syntax is much more concise, right? It just does it very simply. Message ka jawab nahi deta. Yeah, I try to answer every single question that there is on the chat. What are you saying? Okay, let me ask everyone. Guys, did you not understand what we taught today? I want everyone to answer this one. Nahi, matlab, this is confusing. Okay, let me put it this way. If you understood, say yes. If you did not understand, say no. Yes, likho. Okay, I think that's an overwhelming response. And I'll ask you another question. Did you ever feel that I am not replying to your questions, guys? I need to know, otherwise I'll improve, right? Agar galti hai. So say no if I have never done that. Just say no. So that's my point here. Matlab, my point is not to, I'm here to teach, right? So Sonu, aap kyun nahi puch rahe ho if there is someone else also like Sonu? No, I mean, there's no side, guys. We are all on the same side. हम सब same side पे हैं यार. We are all here to learn. We are all here to grow. We are all here to do well in our careers. That's why सब same side पे हैं, right? But अब पूछो तो सही ना यार. 10 बार पूछो. I just stop there. सोनू अभी पूछ लो यार. मतलब I'm here. Thank you, Sai. It means a lot. सर मैंने काफी दिन मैसेज किया है पर जवाब नहीं मिलता. ऐसा नहीं है यार सोनू. आपको पता नहीं ऐसा क्यों लगा. बट दिस कैन बी करेक्टेड, राइट? इट डज नॉट हैव टू बी दिस वे. बहुत सारी क्लासेस बची हैं यार, अपने को साथ में पढ़ना है, राइट? अब ठीक कर लेते हैं, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? आप एक बार मैसेजेस देखो. ऐसा नहीं है यार सोनू, ऐसा नहीं है. आई विल जस्ट रिक्वेस्ट यू, एक बार जितने भी लेक्चर्स अब तक हुए, जस्ट गो थ्रू ऑल ऑफ देम. सब समझ जाओगे. वी टेक अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम. हम बहुत धीरे चल रहे हैं. मतलब आई विल नॉट से बहुत धीरे, बट it's decent pace. I try to understand, make you guys understand everything, right? Right. So ठीक है यार, मतलब अब हो गया. It's fine. But let's fix this, सोनू, है ना? आप सिर्फ इतना करो सोनू, जितने भी लेक्चर्स हुए ना सब देख लेना, पक्का समझ जाओगे. The intention is, guys, सबको सीखना है. मेरा इंटेंशन सिर्फ यही है यार, that you guys do extremely well in your career. That's why I am here for. This is not my job, honestly. I have a lot of things going on. I'm not great here. I just like to teach, and that's why I'm here for. I just like to teach. Cool है. यहाँ पे रुक जाते हैं. कुछ क्वेश्चन है तो बात कर लो, पूछ लो. I'm here. Right. सॉर्टिंग टॉपिक गौरव भाई लंबा है. नेक्स्ट टाइम पढ़ाते हैं, अगली क्लास में. पूरा माहौल चेंज कर दिया सोनू भाई. नहीं, सोनू भाई ने तो बहुत अच्छा काम किया. ही ब्रॉट अप अ वैलिड कंसर्न. यार पता नहीं क्यों करते हैं. अभी बढ़ा दूंगा सॉर्टिंग. मेंटल बैंडविड्थ है. कैन आई जस्ट कवर सॉर्टिंग राइट नाउ? अरे यार, इतने सारे नो बोलोगे तो कैसे पढ़ाऊंगा भाई. चलो कल बढ़ा दूंगा. छोटा सा टॉपिक है यार. I'll try to avoid a class tomorrow because I know सबका वो है यार. Christmas है, you guys want to take an off, right? It's a part of DS, but हम सब लोगों का, there was a discussion also today that should I be taking DSA for you guys, right? But I don't have the time. I want to take DSA, but I'm really not having the time, yaar. So DSA will be taken up by someone else, most likely. मुश्किल है यार अजय भाई, बहुत मुश्किल है. Just very very caught up. I'll try to cover DSK topics. पूछो भाई, मैं पूछो. Mock interview